Hey everybody, how are we doing today? So the weather decided to cooperate a little bit today and it's pretty nice out, so I thought I'd come out today and get a little project done. I didn't have much time, but my 56 hardtop I've been working on here. So I think I am going to rebuild the swing pedals for the brake on this. Now I actually already did the one for this car before I decided I was going to put an LS in it. And I rebuilt it with a power brake pedal. But being this as an LS, I had to use the low car gas pedal. So what I did is I bought this. It's an adapter to make a standard pedal into a bigger power brake pedal. So I happen to have a little 56 cowl out back, and I think that has a set of swing pedals in it for an automatic. So I think I'm gonna go check that out, and I think there's one in it. We'll pull that one out. Alright, so I think this is a 56 cowl from a four-door. I parted it out, and nope, that one's got a clutch set up, so I could actually use that one. All I'd have to do is take the clutch pedal off, but I think I have another one up front. I'm pretty sure that one was an automatic. Let's check that out. Alright, so this is a 56 Bel Air four-door. Me and my uncle parted out. I'm pretty sure. Yep, that was an automatic. I kind of wish this car hadn't been in such bad shape, because it was original Dusk Rose car, which is kind of a different color for 56. I kind of like the oddball colors that you don't see all the time. So, yep, I think we'll pull this one out and we'll clean it up and use it. Alright, there it is. That's the benefit of having your own little junkyard in the backyard of Tri-5 parts. Stuff's just kind of there when you need it. So we're going to blow this thing apart, throw it in the blast cabinet, clean it all up. So I've already ordered a new spring, a new bumper, and new bushings for in here. So we'll get it all cleaned up and we'll see how it looks. And these are the rods. These actually go from here up to the back of the cowl. It's kind of part of the support for it. So these are fairly simple to get apart. It's really just one bolt and nut, and then you force the, there's like a dowel that the pedal pivots on, and you just drive that out and the pedal comes right out. So I'm gonna put a little heat to this because it's been together for years and years. We'll see if this thing comes loose. Yep, no problem. So now we'll take this out and see if we can't drive that pin out. Better get some more of that. Slides right out. That piece. Now the pedal, like I said, there is a spring in here. It's under a little bit of tension. Yeah. There we go. All right, so there's your pieces. So that's your pedal. That's the spring. I ordered a new one just because it's old. Now we'll get that old pad off there, get the rod off because the new disc brake kit that I have for it. It comes with a rod already on the booster, so we'll get rid of that. We'll clean this up, and then we'll work on drilling the holes for that pedal. Alright, just threw the pedal on the sandblast cabinet. That turned out pretty good. This is going to be a little bit rougher, I think. It's a little bit rustier. It's been sitting around for a while, so we'll throw that in there and see how that comes out. Alright, so here's what they turned out after they were blasted. Didn't turn out too bad. Good enough for me. It's under the dash, so you won't see it. You know, it's got some pits and stuff in it, but a little bit of coat of primer. What I actually use is engine paint, because it's enamel and it dries fast, and it coats pretty good. So what we're going to do now, we're going to take that pedal out, and we're going to drill holes to mount it before we paint it. So let's get doing that. Alright, so this is what it ended up looking like. So you just drill holes in the pedal there, and that mounts in the position. So now it looks like it's a power brake pedal. Obviously it doesn't look exactly the same as a factory one, but pretty close. So now I'll take that back off there. I'll throw it back in the blast cabinet, clean it up a little bit. It's got a little bit of oil on it from me drilling the holes, and shoot it with a little brake clean and paint it up. Alright, there's a coat of paint on it. So it's a little cool out. It's only in the 50s, so this might blush, but if it does, I'll just reshoot it. But like I said before, what I use for a lot of this kind of stuff is Duplicolor engine paint. It's pretty sturdy, dries fast, and it looks pretty decent. See, I get pretty impatient, and I like the stuff to get done so I can put it together. So we'll see what happens. Alright, so I think that's going to finish it for out here tonight. It's like I said, it's kind of cooling off, so I can't really do much more painting, and I got to wait for the bushings and the spring and stuff to come for that brake pedal assembly. So when those come, we'll finish that in the second video. So I think what we'll do now is we'll go inside and we'll do a little bit more part identification for small stuff. So I think I'm going to show you guys the differences in all the knobs for all 3 years and for all 3 models. But before we do that, I just want to show you one little, I'm going to give you a tip on something here. So I know a lot of guys look for these and lower windshield moldings. Let's see, so now this is my 57 convertible. At first glance, you know, they look pretty much the same, but actually 55 and 56 are different from 57, and there's a real fast, easy way to tell, but you have to have both years. So if you're ever at a swap meet or something like that, and you're trying to decide which one's which, they have a slightly different curve. So here is the trick. So to take 2 moldings, I'm going to tell you right now, this is a 55 and 56. This is a 57. So if you pair them up and you set them on a level surface like this, let's put the 55 in front. Okay, like that. So see how these are paired up, and you see as you get to the curve, the 57 is just a little bit taller than the 55 and the 56. So that's a real quick and easy way to tell. So I stack them on top of each other here. Line them up. You can see that the 57 is just a little bit taller. Just like that. So they will screw on, but they won't quite fit right. So 57 would lay kind of like that. Fits the dash pretty good. For the 55 and 56, it fits, but it's a little tight right in the very corner of the dash right there. So that's how I tell the difference between the two. Alright guys, now we're back in the house. So now, kind of like the steering wheels, I want to show you the difference between all the different knobs between the 3 years. Now I know a lot of people It doesn't really matter to them. But again, this is all the little intricate stuff that I like about these cars. So 55, 6, and 7, all 3 years had their own knobs, and different knobs depending on what models. So let's start out with the 55s. Now, right away, top of the line, Bel Air stuff, you had these. So, nice smooth edge, stainless steel cap for the wiper, or the headlight and the wiper. Now, for the 210s, they were still smooth and round, but they just had a stainless ring around the outside edge for the headlights, and again for the wipers. Now, a cigarette lighter was actually considered an accessory, and if I remember right in the accessories book, all they show is the Bel Air one. You know, see how it's got the stainless cap? But they did also make a 210 where it's smooth, just has the ring, black center. Now 150s, and I don't have any of these right now, but the 150s were actually, they look just like the Bel Air, except they were all black plastic. In fact, what they actually looked like was this. So I have a couple of these. These are brand new old stock. And if you can see, black plastic. Now I always tell everybody these are 150 radio knobs, when actually they're actually for the cheap recirculating heater. It's the control knob. So a recirculating heater in 55, you had to flip a lever underneath the dash for the defroster, and the only thing you had was one knob to control fan speed, and that looked just like this. So this is a 55 recirculating heater control assembly. So that would go in place of the chrome with the 2 levers up and down and the 2 back and forth. A lot of people think it's a Bel Air, but it's actually just a cheap recirculating heaters. Even Bel Airs had them. Alright, so let's move on to the 56s. Alright, 56 stuff was pretty much identical by the way of the same style from the 55. So they started at the top, you know, your chrome, or stainless steel, I should say. The only difference on a 56, instead of being smooth around the outside edge, it's actually got flutes or ridges, I guess you'd say. So the headlight and the wiper, 210 was the same thing. So it has the stainless ring around the outside edge with a plastic center. Same with the headlight and the wiper, same thing. Now here's what I was talking about with the 150s. So a 150 56 looks just like a Bel Air or a 210, but it's all black plastic. No stainless at all, and it still has the ridges around the outside edge. That's the headlight, that's the wiper. Same thing with the cigarette lighters. That would be a Bel Air. That's a 210. Now here's the other difference. On a 210, you know, this is the headlight bezel, but on 210s they didn't have this big chrome bezel to it. All it was a clear piece of plastic that said lights, you know, cigarette lighter or lighter, wipers, stuff like that. There wasn't no chrome bezel, so instead they used this little spacer that goes over your cigarette lighter housing, and that goes over the bezel. So if you're putting together a 210 and you want it correct, you need this bezel. Alright, let's go to the 57s. Alright, so 57 stuff was a little bit different. So how in 55 and 56 there was a set of knobs for each trim level. In 57, 210 and Bel Air were the same knobs. The only different ones were 150s. So the way to tell a 57, now these are radio knobs, and that's another difference. Radio knobs for 55 and 56, they were identical. They just had 2 knobs exactly the same. just like that. 57, you actually have one big knob, and you have another little knob like that with a, I think that was for the tone or something like that, so the radio knobs. And that was the only knobs you could get. They were Bel Air 210 were black with a stainless outside ring. Same thing with the wipers and the headlights. Plastic with a stainless ring on the outside, the wiper knob, and the lighter was the same. So now I've never seen a 150 lighter for any 3 of the years at all, 55, 6, or 7. So I'm pretty sure this is the only style for 57 they offered, and 56 they just offered the Bel Air style and the 210. Okay, so here is the 150 stuff. So just like a 150, 55, and 56, just black plastic, no stainless trim at all. That's the headlight, that's the wiper. Held on with a set screw. If you've seen one of my other videos, that's the kind of knob I used for this, my headlight switch. It's held on with a set screw. Okay, so the difference here now, on a 57, you have these bezels, and those on a Bel Air are chrome. On a 210 and a 150, they're pot metal, but it's painted silver. But you see this here. So there's your bezels that like 150 and a 210 would have. They sit in here. They actually go like this. They sit flat in there like that, and your shaft goes through them for whatever. So on a 150, you need these, and they're kind of hard to find, really, because back in the day, I think back in the junkyards, people take them apart, they end up on the ground. But they just sit in here like that, and they don't have any kind of bezel with what it is, or like if it's a wiper or headlight switch. But the wiper and the headlight switch both use that little spacer. Alright, now here's something I didn't know for quite a while, actually. When a dealer added windshield washers, because they were considered accessories, so the dealer put them in after it was built from the factory, I always assumed that they come with a new knob. See, this is your push button in the center of your wiper knob that you would run the windshield washers with. Well, instead, I didn't know this, like I said, I didn't know this for a long time, but what they actually did was in the center here, and all 3 years are like this. You see this little piece that comes out of the knob there? That actually comes out. And then the 57s are longer. So they go in just like that. So now you have the wiper, or the windshield washer. And then 55 and 6 are the same exact way. They just push out this way. So that little piece comes out. And your wiper goes in, if I can get it in. I think I have to let the set screw out a little bit. There we go, so I think I had that backwards. So the shorter one is for 5 and 6, the longer one's for 57, so just like that. There's your little plugs that replace them. So another thing, so this doesn't go on the dash, but I got a couple of vent window cranks here. All 3 years, Bel Air and 210 for vent windows and window cranks have that chrome button. 57, 55, 6, and 7 150s are just black plastic. Here's one other thing I forgot to talk about. So 56 recirculating heaters, they also used a knob, kind of like the 55s. It's a radio knob. It's the same exact size, but the only difference is there's a little bitty dot right there that's stamped in it, painted black. So if you have a car with a recirculating heater like this is the control head for it. You'll see, I don't know if you can see that on camera, there's that little bitty dot right there to tell you how fast your fan speed is running, and then there's a push-pull for the defroster, so it's a little bit different than the 55. It's a little bit fancier. That's the 56 and or 56 recirculating. That's the 55 recirculating. It replaces the whole entire heater control head on the dash. I have some 57s around here, but I have to dig them out because those are a little bit different also. They also have a knob that's kind of different like that. It looks like a radio knob, but it actually has an arrow stamped into the knobs. So if you want it correct, these are the knobs you would use. Alright guys, so that's it for this episode. Thanks for watching. We'll finish up that brake pedal here in the next couple days. The bushings and the bumper, and I think a brake light switch is coming. So we'll get the rest of that all painted up. We'll put it all together, show you it assembled, and we'll probably do another parts identification with that video too. So once again guys, I appreciate you tuning in tonight. Thanks, and we'll see you next time.